Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We are so excited to be here with you. My name's Tom Bauman with RE Technology, and I'm here with Dustin Fox and Eric Pearson. Eric, you're running a brokerage with over 1,000 agents, close to $4 billion in sales. Dustin, you've got a team with 43 agents on pace to do 200 million in sales. And we are so excited to learn from you. We appreciate you taking the time. I know you both are very busy, so welcome. How's it going today?
It's going awesome, Tom. Thanks for having us.
Great. And guys, we can start with you, Eric. I'd love to hear just a little bit more about yourselves, about your business.
Yeah, so I got into real estate in 2010. So I started off as a brand new agent. Eventually, probably 2 years later, became one of those top producing agents and eventually ran a team doing about 100 million in sales volume. In 2014, we started Pearson-Smith Realty. So we grew that from 17 people out of my basement to now we're over 1,000 agents. And then we also have a sister brokerage in North Carolina, Costello Real Estate Investments, where we have about 400 agents there. So that's kind of where we are today, and obviously looking to continue to scale and grow as well.
Awesome. That's some pretty incredible growth. We love to hear that. Excited to learn from you. And Dustin, what about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I got licensed in 2015. Before that, I was a store manager, district manager for Pottery Barn, Bed Bath & Beyond. Licensed in 2015. I was doing well enough, joining Eric's brokerage, being on leads, that my wife got into the business about a year and a half later. And then a few years after that, we started the Fox Homes team and have just grown from there.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have had some impressive growth relatively quickly. Really excited to learn from you. I'm sure our audience is excited to hear what you have to say, but I'd love to talk a little bit because I know I hear every day from agents and brokers, team leads, that they're kind of struggling this year, right? It's been interesting with commission changes, everything that's happening in the industry, low inventory. Can you guys talk to us a little bit about that, about, what you're hearing, about, how you're overcoming that? What are you facing right now?
Personally, I'll be honest with you. This year, it has been a struggle for a lot of agents. I do think it's a little bit because of those really good years, 2021, 2022. And I think it was just people got used to it being very easy, right? So now it's become more difficult with rates and inventory and industry changes that we're going through right now. But you're seeing those that are just kind of staying the course, really staying consistent with the business plan, et cetera, really having success. And I think it's those that have it's almost been paralyzed by it and kind of stopped because it's a little bit harder than what it was. So I think it's kind of a mixture where some people are finding it a lot more difficult, but you have a lot of people that are doing better than they ever have. And I think Dustin's probably a prime example on that. So I see it kind of a mix out there between agents, and it's really a mindset thing overall.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think this year our team is, and the brokerage is more acclimated to the lower sales volume in general. And I think in any business, if you're not prepared for a potential like reduction of like 50% of sales any given year because of market conditions, politics, rates, what have you, you have to kind of be prepared for that. And like, not only prepared, but like, what are you going to do? Like working twice as hard to fight for every sale that you can go after.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I really like what both of you said there, right? Is that, keeping your head down, continuing to work, following the business plan. A lot of agents get stuck in that limbo, sort of that analysis paralysis, right? The fear and that sort of hurts their business more than anything else. One thing we've seen is that there's a really big renewed focus on listings, right? Generating listings, giving changes to buyer commissions and all of this kind of stuff that's, still in flux. Hopefully we'll have some resolution soon. But been big focus on, agents generating more listings. And so one of those things that I'd love to chat with you about is how you actually generate listings, what kind of tools you use to do that. And what you would say might be one of the best tools that you found to generate tangible seller leads and to try to generate more listings. So can you tell me about any of those that you might use?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, like whether you're a solo agent or you're on a team, you need like a checklist in place for the things that you're doing for every listing that you do have to leverage it into more listings. So whether it's like a direct mail piece that you're sending to a neighborhood, to a Facebook ad that you're running for that listing, and like we're very big on YouTube ads for our business. So you have to kind of have an entire strategy and a specific way that you're hosting your open houses. So we're doing food truck open houses, catered open houses. We're running video ads around those. Because ideally we're averaging right now about 2.2 transactions off of each transaction. And minus what we're doing with the YouTube ads, like specific tools for us, like number one would be listings to leads because they have that checklist built into it. So if I have a new agent joining my team, I can say, you need to follow this checklist plan. And on top of this plan, we need you to add these YouTube ads to it. So, and just thinking long-term about your business, there's agents that think, oh, I'm going to run this Facebook ad. And when I call the lead, they are not looking to buy right now. So they have the mindset that's very short-sighted that these aren't good leads, but it's about like compounding your database and staying in front of them on a week-to-week basis.
Sure. I like what you said there. And you said you're averaging 2.2 listings off of each of those actual listings. So that's pretty impressive. And listings to leads helping you do that, following that checklist and everything that they're, suggesting that you do there.
Oh, 100%, because we use their letter templates. They have a nearby homeowner letter, and it sounds very old-fashioned, some of the print stuff, like having a flyer in the box. But when somebody takes that listings to leads flyer out of the box and they scan the QR code, like someone has driven by or walked by and taken the time to walk into the yard and pull this out of the flyer box. So those are like better than even Zillow leads because they've actually already seen the front of the house in person. So that part there's a nearby homeowner letter that goes out for every listing that we just adjust for our open house, inviting them to the catered or food truck open house. That is created and templated already in listings to leads. And then for the non-technology friendly agents, there's just an easy button where they can say, hey, I want to spend $100 or $200 on a Facebook or Google ad. And it's not just Facebook, Instagram, but it's also Google pay-per-click. So the Google pay-per-click is very intimidating for most agents, and they have an easy button for that too. And you can just start building an enormous database. Right now, we're at like 85,000 people that are in our database, and it's directly from listings to leads ads. We run them for every listing.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. It sounds like they've got a lot of creative techniques to help you generate those listings. And I love what you said about the easy button, especially with pay-per-click. It's probably the best source of lead gen, right? It's intent-based marketing. People are asking for that information. It's a lot more powerful than, say, social media ads, but great ways to target people who actually have interest in buying or selling. So that's awesome. And you're using that for yourself and for your entire team.
Correct. Yeah, we have in our Google Drive, we basically copied and pasted the checklist, like the get listings checklist for every listing from listings to leads. And we have it in our Google Drive because we've just added a step and we've taught our agents how to run their own YouTube ads as well. So we just have that in there that they just follow and check off. And it's surprising, like agents need a checklist, just like a doctor has a checklist, even though they do the same things every single time, like just a few things that you miss can result in like huge business opportunities that you didn't take advantage of.
Sure. It's great to have a tool to aggregate all of that for you and keep you on track. And Eric, I know, so Dustin, you're using that for yourself, for your team. Eric, do you have a tool specifically that you're using for the brokerage or yourself that you feel like has really helped you generate seller leads, generate listings, and help improve your business?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm glad Dustin mentioned listings to leads just because we probably have a tech stack of 10 to 15 tools, right? But every year when we look at it, that's the one that has the most adoption. And I think the key with listings to leads is obviously when you get that listing, you have the ability to generate other business, right? Through the marketing that kind of Dustin just mentioned. But I think how Dustin gets to such a high number, that 2.2 additional sales off each listing, it's really because agents can use it to impress their seller, right? They get to see all of these things that you're doing as an agent to help market. So in my mind, from a tool perspective and what we provide, listings leads probably is number one, just because it has the ability to do so many great things, from building your brand, lead generation, all the way down to just impressing the customer or seller that you have. So listings leads would probably be the one here that agents find the most valuable.
Awesome. It's not always so often that agents and brokers align in that opinion, right? So we love to hear that because it's really different goals for each one of those audiences, right? Agents, especially like you said, Dustin, newer agents, they need a checklist, they need a template, they need tools to kind of show them how to execute this and generate more business. But as a team leader or broker, you want to provide tools that A, get high adoption, like you said, one of the best adoption rates out of your tech stack, but also enable them, empower them to be successful. So it sounds like you guys have found a great solution there. Um, any specific features? I know we've touched on a couple of them, Dustin, that you mentioned, but Eric, would you like to mention any other specific features that you find really valuable from a broker perspective or from an agent perspective when it comes to listings to leads?
Yeah, and just backtracking on that a little bit, Dustin's our number one agent, it's been the number one team here at the brokerage. So not only is it agents aligning, it's the very best we have likes it, right? So typically that gets other agents using it as well, just because they see, hey, I'm seeing someone have a lot of success with it. That passes down. So it's kind of listings leads a little bit kind of a part of our culture. When I look at features going back, because I'm trying to remember when I used to practice myself, there's one that seems so simple, but it works so well each time. And it's basically like you provide it to the seller. It's kind of a e-flyer or social media posting that they can do on your behalf. And usually what would happen is they would send that out to their friends, their family, and they would often kind of copy me in the email with that entire group, right? So I was getting in front of all of their database through marketing that I'm giving them where they're saying, hey, Eric Pearson provided me this so I can help sell my home. If you could help spread the word as well, that'd be great. So every time that happened, the seller felt extremely happy to be able to share it with their kind of friends so they could see what their agent's doing to sell the house. And then those people picked up on it. When the time comes, I'm going to want to list with Eric because he obviously goes above and beyond and does these type things. And it's not seen a lot in our industry, right? A lot of times it's kind of undercover what the agent's doing. With listings leads, again, it gave me the ability to really put it front and center, show that seller, impress them, and generate not just leads, referrals.
Yeah, I love what you just said, right? So many agents are asking for, hey, give me a referral. I love referrals, but very rarely are they actually, having the client showcase everything that they're doing directly to their sphere of influence. And when your client is sharing all of that, right, on your behalf, that just comes with, so much more impact. So I love that concept. I think that's great. I think we've touched on a lot of really specific points here, right? Dustin, you mentioned social media ads. You mentioned easy button for pay-per-click advertising to generate leads. So many different things that you can use this tool for to really generate tangible sellers, grow your database, and really make an impact on your business. So I love to hear about this. Love it when you guys are able to really dial in and pinpoint specific tools that help you succeed. I know our audience loves to hear about those. What I'd love to ask you a little bit more, because I hear this all the time, is that everyone's always talking about the level of support that they get from different SaaS products, tech tools. I'd love if you can talk a little bit to us about what you've experienced from support from listings to leads.
For me personally, one of the things that I like the most about it is like they have a very active Facebook community, like the forum. So there's people sharing things. I've shared a lot that's worked for me. And I've had no problems. But the thing that's most important, just like Eric is with the brokerage and that I am with my business, Eric is always focused on trying to get a little bit better than the day before. So listings to leads from when I started using it 8-9 years ago is a completely different product, and it's being updated constantly. Like just a couple years ago, and this is something that agents I don't think are taking advantage of, is like maximizing the Google My Business profile. Is like, if you search realtors near me and you go and you scroll past the pay-per-click ads, and then you see the local pack of 3 businesses. So they have an auto posting feature that all you have to do is connect your Google business page to it. And I have seen, and you can use third-party services like Bright Local. I've seen my presence of my Google business since I hooked it up go from like ranked 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, all the way now to ranked number 1, number 2 in like literally a 3 or 4 mile radius from my business. So just turning on those auto posts, it's signaling to Google like we're actively using it. It has keywords built into it. It has a backlink back to your website back to it, which obviously works well with SEO purposes. So there's just so many things that they've added that more than I could cover in like a single call that they offer, that I think most of the people that are using it just aren't fully taking advantage of.
Yeah, I love to hear that. Constantly improving, right? We know tech's always changing every day. Those Google business pages are so important. I know, constant improvement is necessary, and it's great to have a product that's growing and learning with you, right? And so, Eric, anything that you'd like to add there, especially as a broker, you're using this, office wide with close to 1,000 agents. Support there is paramount, and so what have you experienced for training for the agents, support for the office, things like that?
Yeah, I'll just use one example. So we're fairly large at this point. We're about 1,400 agents between the two offices. So it's common now where some type of vendor or somebody reaches out every day to try to partner with us. But when we first started out, it wasn't as easy. And I don't want them to have to do this for everybody in the world. But when we were small, probably under 50 agents, Scott Pierce, Vince, they came out, they traveled here just to kind of do some training, share with the agents, etc. And they don't live close to us, right? So they were people that were willing to take that time, come out here, really go above and beyond for the agents. And not a lot of people would do that, especially where we were at that time. So I really respect those guys. In addition, just knowing if an agent asks me a question on listings to leads, I won't pretend like I'm an expert in it anymore, but there's an easy place to go where they can learn everything like that. Listings leads makes it super simple. They're always on top of things. And again, even people that go above and beyond. So a lot of respect for those guys.
Yeah, it's so important. It's great to have that personal touch too, right? It's so rare now that you really find that with any of your providers. So this is great. I love getting your guys' feedback, getting your opinion, learning a little bit more about how you're finding such great success. We've talked a lot today about listings to leads, and I'd love to just wrap up that piece of the conversation by asking, you've both focused in on this tool. Would you say, I mean, obviously it seems very clear, but would you say that you see a great return on investment, it's worth the time, it's worth the money, and that you're consistently, seeing a return on the effort you're putting in there?
Well, I definitely can say that because Eric pays for it. So
Do you think this is something you could live without?
no, definitely not. I would say even, Eric would never stop using it because of how many agents in the brokerage are actively using it. But even if he did, I would pay for it 100%. Like it's by far my favorite tool. And there's so many things we haven't touched on, like the single property websites. Like each of the things that's a feature of listings to leads are other product services only service, like single property website or sending mailers or running Facebook ads. They combine it all in like an easy price system where it's like if you have 0 to 5 listings, that the price is this amount low. If you have this much, so it can scale as you grow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's the best thing. Sorry, about listings leads. Is truthfully, it's affordable, right? It's a product that is affordable. And as Dustin said, if we ever stop providing, we'd probably have a mutiny on our hands with the agents here at Pearson. They absolutely love listings leads. So do I personally see an ROI in terms of we put this much in? I'm calculating what we got back on a potential ad an agent did. We don't go to that level, but it's very clear based on adoption and what we see just agents using listings to leads is without a doubt worth the ROI.
yeah, and if you're getting 2.2 listings for every listing that you're marketing there, that's pretty good return. So I love to hear that you guys are having success with it. And, again, I'm sure our audience loves to learn from you. Before we go here, I want to ask you each, obviously you're both extremely productive. You've had some great success. You've been doing this for a long time. And so while we have you here, was there any advice that you might like to share with our audience who might be struggling right now, given everything that's happening on how they can continue to thrive in sort of a challenging market?
Yeah, for us, it's like just, you got to double your work output, number one. Number two is like with tools like listings to leads. I'm sorry to keep going back to this, but just follow the checklist. Do everything that it says, even though it seems like it may not be it. Eric touched on the e-flyer earlier, like sending these things to your clients. They are proud of their home. They're going to send it to their friends and family. And that's going to get people in your database and not always think long term, like what could be possible for my business 5 years from now? Because if you get all of these people from running these ads in your system, you need to have a plan in place, like a weekly email that you're staying in touch with them, a great CRM with a great drip campaign, like all of these things that can do the work for you, and stay in touch with these people long term.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think right now for agents, if I just had to give any advice, to be honest, it's kind of like show up, right? You need to get around other agents so you kind of have that energy and kind of like minds. You see it with Dustin's team. If you look at his roster, he's got winning agents, right? But what they wanted was a community and some things like that that's really helped their business go to the next level. And same thing that we're doing just at our brokerage right now. I think we have 75 people in the back for what we call Teamwork Tuesdays. It's just getting together, sharing ideas. When you're around others that you're seeing positive things happen for, they'll eventually happen for you as well if you're being consistent. So biggest thing is don't stay back, not getting around people trying to figure it out yourself. Come learn with others, because that community is often what's going to help you get to where you want to be.
Yeah, and I think that's so important, right, for the brokers out there too, right? That focus on education, on, supporting your agents, same thing for team leads, encouraging them and giving them the tools to be successful is so important. But absolutely, we really appreciate you guys being here. You've shared some great insights, some, great tips and advice. And I know our audience is appreciative to learn from you both. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule. So it's great meeting you both, and we hope to see you again.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thanks a
Tom.
lot, Tom.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.